What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Good to see everybody as you all come on. We got a lot to discuss. We missed the show last week, but we are back in action, back in full swing. What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing? Hope the week is off to a good start so far. Make sure I got this part lined up. Cool. What's going on, everybody? Got a lot to discuss. This is what show number 10 now. Show number 10. We reached double digits. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in right now. Appreciate those that will come in a little bit later. Always love and appreciation for each of you, man. You know, always means a lot. Shout out to my guy, Chris. What's going on, man? Big up yourself, Big Chris, man. I appreciate you, man. Good seeing you. Got to get your thoughts on a couple things, man. And we shall get into that, man. But what's going on, everybody, man? Let's touch on what we're going to be talking about real quickly here moving forward for the show. So, you know, we got to recap the fights that we saw this past weekend. Zepeda, Maxie Hughes, Zach Parker, Liam Davies, Joyce. A bunch of those ones. Going to talk about a little bit of the fights that's happening this week. Get you guys' thoughts on that. Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fondora. We got to touch a little bit about that. Quick thoughts. We're just going to jump in the water. Well, put our toes in the water, but not fully jump in. Just want to get your thoughts on that. A couple news that I heard and saw recently, including Joshua Boazzi and Anthony Yarde, should be announced pretty soon from what I read today. I'm interested in that fight. And I also saw Bam Rodriguez and Estrada might be fighting as well, too. I don't know if that's set in stone, but just some stuff I'd love to get your perspective on. Cool down segment, Q&A, and then quote of the week, and then we shall get on out of here. Again, shout out to everybody that takes the time to tune in, man. I appreciate each of you. Again, we didn't have a show last week. I had some last-minute stuff come up that I wasn't able to do on the day, but it's a new day. It's a new week, and you know how we do it, man. Let's get into things. My brother Francisco, what's going on, my man? What's going on, man? Holding it down from AZ. I believe Bam and Estrada, I just read prior to this. I didn't see if it was fully finalized, but man, people are saying that might be a bigger fight than David Benavidez whenever he fights in Arizona. So it's going to be a big fight, man. Sean T, what's going on, man? Love. Blessed love, my brother. Blessed love, man. I appreciate you tuning in, man. Well, let's get to it, man. For those that will come in a little bit later, let's go to it. Where should we go? Where y'all want to go first? Y'all want to go? You know what? Let's go here. Let's go Zepeda. Let's go Zepeda and Hughes. What do we think about this fight? What did we like about this fight? Was it what we thought it was going to be? Man, I was really curious as to seeing how Hughes was going to handle the pressure. I wasn't expecting this fight to go the distance, but I was really curious, man. How was he going to handle the pressure? How was he going to handle being on the back foot every single round? How was he going to keep Zepeda off of him? Early on, I was just like, yo, this is getting rough. Man, Zepeda's conditioning is unreal. I don't think Zepeda is the biggest puncher by no means. But when you're constantly getting hit left, right, and center every single round, and you're trying to keep this man off of you, and Maxie Hughes is not a big enough puncher to keep anybody off of him like that. And so this one was... my man Lights Out said it. I don't know if Lights Out is in this chat, but he said it perfectly. I saw in the comments, he said, man, Maxie Hughes got beat down. And I thought that was the perfect statement. He got beat down. Shout out to Maxie Hughes, man. Look, you came in there, you didn't lay down, you tried to do your thing, but man, it got bad. It got bad. It was starting to get so bad that I was just like, yo, guys, please throw in the towel. Please, please throw in the towel. And so before we jump in the comments and I get your thoughts on it, let me pose this question to you as we're talking about it. Max Hughes against Kambosos was a close fight, right? Close fight. So Zepeda walked through Maxie Hughes in every facet of the fight. So just a question, just a conversation. How good is George Kambosos? Like, what do you guys think, right? Like, he's about to fight Lomachenko coming up. And, you know, just a thought, because Kambosos, to me, he struggled against Hughes. I didn't think he won that fight. Just get your perspective on it. You know, just throwing it out there. Lights out. What's going on, man? First and foremost, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate your generosity. Really does mean a lot, man. Really appreciate you guys doing that. Man, Lights Out said the fact that Sebastian Fundora got knocked on his last fight over a year ago and is walking into a main event title shot is hot garbage. You know, man, the politics of boxing, man. You know how it goes, man. You know, it happens. It happens. But what I am good about, what I am glad about is the fact that, you know, somebody stepped in, and everybody on the card, the training camp isn't going to waste. You know what I'm saying? That they're actually going to be able to fight. But I was not expecting Fundora to really step in and take this fight. But we'll touch on this a little bit later, man. But again, appreciate this, bro. I appreciate your generosity, bro. I appreciate you tapping in. It happened just like how I thought. Yeah, man, it was bad, wasn't it? I expected Zepeda to be too good, too much for Maxie Hughes. That's what it was. Levels. I like Hughes as I'm UK massive balls to him for taking the fight. 1,000%, 1,000%. And I'm glad that they didn't just throw away Maxie Hughes. You know what I'm saying? That they gave him the opportunity to fight again and, you know, to make a little bit more money because, you know, he's got 7 losses now. So, you know, it doesn't always look good. But shout out to him, man. But that was a rough one to watch. Loma is going to give Kambosos a boxing lesson. Yeah, man, I think so. Do you think Loma can stop Kambosos? You know, what do you think about that? I think it goes the distance, but I don't see Kambosos winning this fight, man. Because Kambosos is garbage. Loma going to handle that. Yeah, I believe so too, man. I believe so too. WBC are clowns. Banachik was supposed to fight Fundora for a vacant WBC belt. Now they put belt as main event. WBC need proper help. They need to go to the doctor seriously. Man, I don't really know what they're doing, bro, because but I heard that Brian Mendoza is supposed to be stepping in in face of Fundora. I don't know if that's 100% true, just what I've been seeing, but you know, I thought Fundora really little bit of favor on his side to be stepping over some of these cats. So, you know, interesting, man. Loma could possibly stop Kambosos on cuts. I think so too. John Wall, what's going on, man? Well, first and foremost, man, appreciate you tuning in. It's on the way, man. It's on the way. All right, let's move forward past that, man. Zach Parker, Tyron, what do you guys think about this fight, man? Real quick. I'm not going to spend too much thoughts on this, but if this was Tyron's version a couple years back, man, I think he would beat Zach Parker. Honestly, I wasn't too impressed with Zach Parker's performance. What I did like about it, though, from his point of view, is he got knocked down and he did not panic. He found a way to get back up and to box his way to a victory. So that's the good thing about this fight for me, man. But I wasn't too impressed with his performance, man. It was okay. Interesting because at one point, this guy was a very high prospect to many people. And he was talking about fighting Canelo and fighting this and that. And I'm like, man, I don't know about that. I'm saying I don't know about that. I don't think he beats Boazzi. I don't think he beats Anthony Yarde. So it's like all these different things, man. So again, okay performance. We move forward. We move past it. Let's go to this next one. Wait, let me hit the comments real quick as you guys think about this one. Yeah. Okay, so Mendoza did step in. I think it's going to be a good fight, man. I think it's going to be a good fight. I really do. I think it's really going to be a good fight. And it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Tim Tszyu maneuvers in this one, right? Because you've been prepping for one guy, and then you have a whole different opponent. And I think Fundora could pose a little bit of threat for however long this fight may come. But we'll talk about that very shortly. Man, first of all, look, straight up, I wasn't very big on Liam Davies. I'm not gonna lie, man. I saw him fight a couple times, didn't really think too much. But in his past 3 fights, man, I gotta say, hey, I've became a Liam Davies believer. I thought he fought an excellent fight. I was not expecting him to stop Robles as quickly as he did. Like, he came in fighting off the front foot, pushing the pace early, letting the hands go early, came in like he knew that he could dominate this fight. And that's exactly what he did, man. I thought, Robles probably felt like he was going to have a little bit more room to maneuver, a little bit more room to really get things going. But Davies did not let that happen, man. Again, I wasn't a believer in his first like 10 fights. I just didn't think it was anything too crazy. But then in his last couple performances, man, I've actually been really, really impressed by him and really impressed in his mentality. And so I think right now, man, he's won his last 3 fights by knockout. He's riding the momentum, riding things, and he's finally in a groove, man. So I hope to see him in some bigger fights moving forward. And he's able to I think he continues to improve, man. I think he's a really solid opponent for a lot of different people, especially in this division, man. So gonna be interesting, man. I think he's only going to get better and going to continue to improve. So again, I liked what I saw. I didn't just like what I saw. I was very impressed by what I saw, man. So beautiful win, beautiful victory. Let's see. Zeuge uses experience as a former champion. I thought that knockdown won him the fight, but I had it a draw as I didn't think it was a knockdown, hit him back of the head. Yeah, it's one of those tricky ones, man, but Zeuge is, I think if this was the old version of him prior towards the break, I think he stops Zach Parker. You know what I'm saying? So, interesting fight, man, interesting fight. Davies is a problem, man. He really is improving, man. He really has put himself in a good spot. A good spot. He's got a good story, marketable guy. You know what I'm saying? Good foundation, good solid of purpose. Seems to just want to get in there and fight and do his thing. So they're able to maneuver him very nicely, man. I'm expecting him to. I would love for him to fight at least 2 more times this year. Maybe one time in the summertime and then another time before the year ends. I think that would be a very, 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 very good 2024 for him. Started out really well. Parker was underwhelming, disappointing performance. I completely agree. I knew that Ayala had rest problems according to his team. What do you mean rest problems? Like respiratory problems? What do you mean? What do you mean? Give me a little bit more insight on this one. Davies definitely keeps improving 1000%. First and foremost, good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. NLPZ. Robles isn't very good, so I wasn't impressed. What I was impressed by is how quickly he done it. You know what I'm saying? How quickly he done it. There are some performances where we kind of know the outcome per se. I thought Davies was going to win this fight by decision. Possible stoppage later in the second half of the fight. But when someone comes out and they don't play around and they come and they do their thing and they get in there, get out, that's impressive to me, man. So what, 2 rounds? To me, that's impressive, man. The man is getting better and better. He's one of my favorite fighters for a reason, electrifying. Okay, only IBO belt, but puts him up there for a world title shot. Davies smokes McCain. I agree. So you got Dalton Smith over Zepeda. I do. And we're going to talk about that shortly. But yeah, man, I do. I think it's a big step up fight for Dalton Smith, as I said in the video, like a big step up fight. But I think I don't think it's the same version of Zepeda anymore, man. I think he's missed the beat a little bit. His last performance was very lackluster, very uninspiring. He obviously can still punch. He's obviously got the experience. He obviously knows how to maneuver in the ring. But in the upward trajectory of momentum wise, man, I think he's going down, and I think Smith is going up. But it'll be interesting to see how it does unfold. But I do like Smith to win this fight. I don't know what the betting percentages, the betting odds are, and who is the bigger favorite or what's the margin. But I wouldn't even like, from a betting person, you got to put some money on Zepeda because of his experience and what he can do. But I think right now I like where Dalton Smith is going versus what I've seen recently of Zepeda. But you can't count Zepeda out, man. He can still punch. He can still get it done. Move up to world level opponents, statement performance. Mexicans are tough. He knocks him out in 2 rounds. Special fighter. So front footed on you straight away. World level opposition next. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, I was impressed by the quick work, but not impressed by Robles. Had no business in there with a guy that tough when he only fight weaker Mexican fighters. Man, I hear you, my brother. I hear you. Davies is the second best super bantamweight behind Inoue. I'm keeping Davies away from Inoue. Yeah, I don't want to see that right now. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that right now. I agree, man. Much love to you. And first of all, good to see you as well, too. Thank you for tuning in. What Davies did was terrifying. He has almost everything. McCain doesn't have that power. Man, who do you think is like a bigger and Chris being over the UK, a little bit more, man. Do people like Davies better? Do they like Azim better over there? Like what or Dalton Smith? Like what is the, I guess, from a popularity hierarchy, would you say? Interested to see in that one. Mexican decline is yeah, they've been having a rough little start, man. Came late, gotta watch you speak. Man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your generosity as well, too, man. I've been waiting to thank you for what you sent the other day, man. It's love and appreciation, and truly appreciate that, man. I've been trying to find you in the comments, but I haven't seen you. But I appreciate your generosity. I really do, man. I definitely don't take it for granted. I appreciate your time. Let's keep it going, man. Let's keep it going. Joe Joyce gets his revenge against Cash Ali. Man, there was a bunch of people hitting me last minute saying, Keem, you think Joe Joyce is going to stop him early? You think Joe Joyce is going to stop him in 2 rounds? I'm like, absolutely not. I don't understand why Joyce felt the need to come into this fight almost 300 pounds, 280 plus pounds. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why. I don't understand why Big Bang came in as heavy as he did as well, too. We already know how slow Joe Joyce is. Like, we know that. We know his footwork is non-existent. We know he's heavy-footed. We know what he is. And for him to come in like that and look like a complete mummy, who said it? Muhammad Ali back in the day, who he was talking to, man, he gave the nickname the Mummy. And I was like, that's exactly what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? And it was a very uninspiring fight, man. And I think that fight should have went the distance, honestly. I think Joyce got bailed out a little bit there by the referee. Very uninspiring fight, man. Like I didn't like that one. But again, wasn't a very good Joe Joyce performance, but it was the Joe Joyce that we are accustomed to. Come forward, let the hands go, heavy swinging, depending on his chin. Cash Ali, man, he probably was so discouraged because he threw everything. he threw everything and anything at Joe Joyce, and it never discouraged him. And so it was the same Joe Joyce that we were accustomed to, but honestly, a little slower to me. But he dominated the fight. He got the stoppage win. He's gonna feel good, gonna feel confident. And I know he was calling out Zach Parker prior to the fight, and I was like, man, this version of Joe Joyce is not a good look. I didn't like it. I did not like it. Man, I thought it was an interesting fight, man. I thought Paul's almost pulled it off. He almost pulled it off. Almost pulled it off. But, I'm not mad at the draw. I could understand if either guy, you said Heaney won or Paul's won, whatever the case may be. I can see which side you would lean towards more, but it was a interesting fight. I thought it was a good solid card, with the exception of a couple with the one or two fights, but good card. Azim is most popular, Smith just behind, but for me, I've always been on Davies' train. Yeah, I was just curious what the temperature was like over there, man. It was good to see Joyce. he's he's ready to hit the couch, man. He. I don't even think he could hit the couch, man. Right now, how slow he was moving. Cash Ali, I put $10 on Joyce winning on points, and it would have been 320. It should have went the distance. It should have went the distance. It really should have went the distance, man. But that would have been a massive, massive, massive amount, man. Joyce, man. Mummy style, confidence gone, gushy, a hamster looking for his food, and almost didn't eat the food. Almost didn't eat the food, but the ref gave him a little bit of that food, and he was able to do it, man. So yeah, man, Joyce, man, yeah. Still far behind regarding Cambosis. He would likely be a one-hit wonder by the time his career is over. Yeah, it is starting to look like that, man. He's starting to be the guy to beat Teofimo Lopez on the right night, become the champion, and then just, paydays. He's going to be nicely paid, But when it comes to being at the top of the division and a contender for a title again, yeah, it's looking like that. It's looking like that. Not writing Joyce off completely because AJ got criticism against Franklin, and we now seen where AJ is, but this is a different Joyce, way older than AJ. Joyce never getting world title shot. Yeah, I don't think so either, man. And, Zhang hit him a couple times real good in both fights. Not saying those guys have a power like Zhang, but, I still think Joyce beats a couple of the top 10 heavyweights, but I don't see him getting a title shot, man. 38 years old now, 39 this year. Sometimes when I watch Joyce, like mannerisms, I'm just like, yo, where is this guy's head at? Like, he kind of looks spaced out to me at times and just going through the motions, man. He's a big frame, big body, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think Cash Ali is in the top 15, top 20, but he's kind of, I'm not going to say he struggled with Cash Ali because he didn't, but it just wasn't the performance that I was expecting personally. Harsh reality. There is current Joyce at the moment, top 15. All beat Joyce. Really sad to see Wardley beats Joyce Clark. His chance. Man, I think Fabio Wardley beats a bunch of guys right in the top 10, man. I think he beats, personally, I think Fabio Wardley beats Jared Anderson. And in this side of the world, Jared Anderson's, held to a high regard, but I think Fabio beats him. Paz was completely robbed, in my opinion. It's poor depth in the middleweight division. Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. The Joyce versus Ali stoppage ended with 7 seconds left in the fight, just like when Komatov was stopped by 4 with 7 seconds left in the fight. Yeah. Good point. The rigged Joyce stoppage cost me 11, but I won 1,200 on the draw outcome. So, you at least you made $100 back, man. The Magnificent Seven was one of the best cards I've seen. It was a good card. Solid performances across the board, man. I agree. Cash Ali's an idiot and a bum. Joyce should be embarrassed by what performance. No way you can go past 5 rounds. Man, again, I thought Joyce was going to come in and impose his physicality, but man, he just looked rough, man. But I feel bad for Cash Ali because he threw everything and everything stuck. Everything landed, but it didn't do nothing. Joyce, man, Dillian White is back. Like, he's back fighting. Yo, when I saw that pop up, I'm like, yo, wait, what? When did this happen? I'm like, yo, I didn't know Dillian White had a fight. And many didn't know he had a fight, but he did win. Who did he face again? Christian Hammer. Yeah, that was a surprising name that I saw pop up. I'm like, wait, what? Crazy. All right, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's talk a little bit about the fights this weekend. I saw a post on YouTube yesterday that Jamal Charlo will fight Caleb Plant in Dallas, Texas on July 13th. I don't know if it's true. If it is true, that's what I'm talking about. Would love to see that fight, man. Look, I like Caleb Plant, man. You know, I like Caleb Plant because he will fight anybody if the opportunity is right. He will fight anybody anywhere. Let's just make it happen. I like Caleb Plant. This is a good fight if it does happen. They got to settle the beef. They got some stuff that they got to handle with each other. I would love to see it. So hopefully it's not something that is just a rumor. Hopefully it is the real thing. I'd love to see it. White actually cleared his name the proper way, unlike Mr. Ben. Yeah, I remember you were saying that. But I was just like, yo, like, sometimes, sometimes fights, as we know, aren't marketed very well, right? But I didn't hear a single thing about that. All I saw was, a little trailer saying, yo, I'm back. And then like a week later, he's in the ring. I'm like, yo, that's a man that operates in silence and moves in silence. Get his little payday, and an easy win. Not mad at it, man. Not mad at it. Canelo Munguia will be a mismatch, just like when Canelo fought Angola back in 2014. I actually like this fight. I prefer this fight over him and Edgar Berlanga. I think this is the fight that we're going to see Jaime Munguia get stopped, in my opinion. But Munguia is going to make Canelo fight. He's going to force and push the pace. But, Munguia's defense is very shaky, man. Very shaky. I saw a post that Bud Crawford gets the winner of Tim Tszyu while we're talking internet. Yes. Like Sal, we're going to get there, my brother. We're going to get there. Let's talk real quick about this fight. Any of these fights this weekend, what are some ones that you guys are looking forward to the most? Again, I got these breakdowns fully up. 2 new ones, Davies and Williamson, Sandy Ryan, Terry Harper. Those are now up. Ishmael Davis, man. As I said it in the breakdown video, man, I don't know how good he is. I'm saying, like, I don't know how good he is, man. His last opponent, Mackenzie, 8-0. Opponent before that was 7-7. But the rest of his opponents, they just weren't they just weren't good. Like, they had 20 losses, 30 losses, 40 losses. I know, you're supposed to build your fighter up as they're going up to make them look good. But, I don't know how good he is, and so I'm curious to see how good that he is. Yeah, he does some good stuff, man. The man's a physical presence. He fights well on the inside, switch hitter. But to me, he's still one-dimensional to me, in my opinion. So I don't know how good he is. I'm not counting him out. And if he is who he says he is and who many people tell me that he is, then, he should pass this test of Troy Williamson. I don't think Troy Williamson is at the top of the division by no means, but he's fought really good opposition. And he seems to handle himself really well. I think the physicality and the constant pressure of Williamson is going to pose a threat to Davis, and see how he makes adjustments in real time. It's easy to be the bully when you are the bigger guy and the bully. You're pushing the pace. But how easy when someone is in the ring, Williamson, who does have an aggressive style, who is going to make Davis fight off of the back foot. So I just have more questions about Davis this time around. Now, Williamson is coming off of a loss. And so, the timing might be right. He might be on the decline for him. So going to be interesting, man. I'm looking forward to seeing Davis and what he looks like. So Sandy Ryan, Terry Harper for me. This breakdown video is up as well too. It's gonna be interesting, man. I was really unimpressed with Terry Harper's last fight against Cecilia Brækhus. And I spoke very highly of her in that breakdown video. I thought she was gonna get it done. And I just left thinking, like, man, she left a lot left in the ring here. She didn't fully finish what I thought that she was going to do, using her youth and her speed, and it just didn't look good. Now, Sandy Ryan, I thought she was coming off one of her best performances, so it's going to be interesting to see how it does unfold. But I'm expecting a great card, a great lineup of fights, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. And if Dalton Smith is who he says he is, and who many people tell me that he is, and the potential that we can see from him is there, if he is this guy, then this is the step up fight to prove that and really put himself in that top 10 in big fights moving forward, man. So again, there's a lot of questions on this card for me, a lot of step up fights on this card for me. And we are going to see who is who they say that they are on the night. That's the beautiful thing about boxing, man, and high elite sports, and especially these predictions. It's like, man, we can say one thing, we can say another thing, but at the end of the day, it's going to play out. Both man and man got to meet in the ring. Both woman and woman got to meet in the ring. And we got to see who's got more heart, who's got more will, who's going to make better adjustments, who's better conditioned. That is the beauty of it, man. This is why it's so great that we can talk about it. And I talk about it. I don't hold no favoritism like that, or I'm too welled up on one person winning. Look, it's conversation, and we're going to have conversation. But conversation and getting into the ring are two different things, man. So again, I'm looking forward to this card because the questions for me and for many of you are going to be answered on the night. Man, Chris says Plant favorite against Charlo, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. I'm with you there. Step up fight for Davis, 100%, 100%. Same as you. Let's see how good Davis is when he's up against tough opponents. And, Williamson's a guy who's never been stopped before, and he's gotten hit with some shots, but he still seems to come forward, man. I won't be shocked if Williamson wins. I think Davis wins on points. It's going to be a tough fight for both. Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see which level Smith is at in the Zepeda fight. Oh, yeah, we're going to find out, my brother Chris. We're definitely going to find out, man. We're definitely going to find out. So let's move forward. Let's go here, man. First and foremost, I was actually on the minority side in the sense of looking forward to seeing Keith Thurman. I like seeing Keith Thurman fight. I like seeing how, he's very performative leading up to the fight. One thing about Keith one-time Thurman is he's going to sell a fight, man. He's going to do his part. And so I was actually looking forward to seeing this fight because I thought it would pose some different questions from Tim Tszyu from a boxing standpoint. But situation happened. One-time Thurman is now out. I don't know when we'll see him next, if we'll see him at all this year. But Sebastian Fundora has now stepped into the mix. He is now going to be fighting Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora, September 30th, or I'm saying September, March 30th. This is the new fight. So it's going to be interesting, man, because look, Fundora, I have questions about him as well, too. Like how much of the last knockout took out of him? Where's his confidence level like? Does he still believe like that? Is he going to change his style? For as tall as he is, he doesn't like to fight on the outside. He likes to bang on the inside and be physical. And he's a big stature from height-wise, but he's not the biggest guy that fills out. But he does pose a threat because of his reach. He's strong, he's determined, and the man lets his hands go. So it's going to be interesting, man, because when he was fighting Mendoza, he was winning the fight till he got stopped. So going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, man. I'm not fully counting out Fundora, but I don't see this fight going the distance. I think Tim Tszyu is going to work that body. I think body shot is going to take him out, or he's going to get caught again with the same similar shot that Brian Mendoza did, So I think Tim Tszyu is going to stop him. I haven't made the prediction yet. It's coming next week, but we're just quickly talking about it. But this is a dangerous fight for Fundora to take, because if you lose twice and if he gets stopped again, man, that's going to mess with That's gonna mess with him up here, man. Honestly, but shout out to him for being courageous enough to take the fight. I just think Tim Zhu got a lot of momentum. I think right now Tim Zhu is just too good right now, man. But again, anything can happen on the night. But the winner, guess Bud Crawford. What do we think about that? What do we think about that, man? What do we think about that? All right, let's see. Well, the money is going to Davis. It's a very close fight. I don't really have a favorite. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not mad at either that, man. I think Davis is definitely what most people are saying. So I get that. Thurman was going to get stopped. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Same old once upon a time. Yeah, that's a good one. Hey, once upon a time, Thurman. That's a good one. That's a good one, man. Shout out to one time Thurman, man. Fundora getting knocked out. Yeah, man. I think so. I'm with you there. Uh, Keith, once upon a time Thurman. Keith, sometimes Thurman. That's hilarious. That's that's hilarious, man. You cracking me up, bro. That's good. My brother Francisco says, I agree with Lights Out that Fundora is not deserving of a title shot right now. I agree. But just looking at the style matchup, might Fundora be a tougher assignment for Zhu? Not really sure. Yeah, man. I think we're gonna find out, I don't know what Fundora is gonna look like based on from a mentality standpoint. I'm expecting the same physical guy, but it's like, man, how much of that style can you do consistently against a tougher opponent like a Tim Zhu, who is just as game, even more game than Fundora is. But the height difference, man, makes a difference, and that could pose a challenge, right? It could take a little bit for Tim Zhu, I think, to figure it out, because Fundora, man, he's just a tough matchup, man, because he's so tall and lanky. But going to be interesting. But again, I think Tim Zhu gets it done. Yeah. Same sentiments. Tim Zhu makes light work of Fundora. Yeah, that could definitely be it, man. A world championship fight was taken away, and they gave him one of the interim championship. Yeah, man, how boxing is, man. It's I don't even really get worked up about it no more, because at the end of the day, these guys gonna do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't even. We know it doesn't make sense. You have a fighter coming off of a loss, a bad loss, and then he just gets jumped into a championship fight. We know it's not right, but it is what it is. I'm just glad the card is still going on. Tim Zhu was going to hurt Thurman bad. It would have been a heinous crime scene. Luckily for Keith, Father Time took him out of the game before Tim Zhu did. I hear you, man. I hear you. Fundora is just so awkward, and he's a southpaw, man. Yeah, and again, I'm not saying Fundora is going to win, but he could pose a little bit of threat, man. I just think is hard to figure out, But the one thing about Tim Zhu is, he don't care. We could be fighting in the streets. We could be fighting on a boat. We could be fighting in the ring, the octagon. That man gonna come to fight. That man's going to come to fight. But the thing is, man, I also think Fundora, he can make fights easier if he just uses his distance, uses his range, and uses his physical size to his advantage. But the man just likes to fight. He just likes to fight. And I'm like, bro, I get you like to fight, but man, you got to make some adjustments here. Mendoza knocked Fundora out. Zhu will definitely knock him out. Yeah, man, definitely. I'm glad Crawford Eubank Jr. is a load of nonsense and smokescreen. This is what Crawford should be doing, not wasting time on Eubank. Yeah, I didn't really fully believe that, man, because they trained together, right? So, now I know guys who train each other, they do fight each other, but this just came out of left field. It didn't make sense to me at all. I was like, wait, why? Nobody asked for that. No, nobody asked for that. Tim Zhu is a machine. Yeah, he is. I'd love to see him against Bud. I'd love to see that fight. Love to see that fight. Fundora doesn't use his height or reach. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Exactly what I was just saying. Absolutely. Fundora shouldn't be on card. Conwell, Bronachuk deserved a title shot more. I agree. Isn't Conwell higher up than Fundora? I haven't looked at the rankings in a while, but when I saw it about a month and a half ago, I thought coming off of the loss, Fundora dropped to like 6 or 7, and Conwell kind of moved up. I could be wrong in that. Thurman spoke too much. I wanted to see it. Hey, one time is going to sell a fight. One time is going to sell a fight. WC clearly has posters of Fundora, to say it nicely. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised by that by no means. It's probably about to come out this weekend, probably. Hopefully we can finally get Spence versus Thurman. Makes all the sense in the world now. That's actually not a bad idea there. I mean, but Spence is not taking that fight. Spence is trying to get a couple more fights to make it happen. WBC for you, they never make sense. Yeah, that's so true, man. Fundora Choi, good to see you. Fundora is easier match compared to Thurman. I agree. I think Fundora is very one-dimensional. At least one time would give you different looks and come and use his IQ in boxing a little bit more. But Fundora is going to be there to get hit. I don't see him changing how he usually fights. History shows a fighter is going to fight a specific way. Fire with fire. We'll see how it goes. Bud fighting the winner of this fight is cool with me. Kind of want Fundora to win just to see Bud whip him. Oh, man. Bud, I just think Bud would toy with that man. He would toy with that man. And I like the towering Inferno. I like the man. I think he's a good fighter. But, is he deserving of the title shot? No, but, it is what it is. Spence needs to fight at 154. He's done at 147. Yeah, I don't see him ever. I don't think Spence has much more fights left, man. Maybe 2, maybe 3 at the most. And I actually think the same for Bud Crawford as well, too. Maybe 2, maybe 3 more fights. He is 35 now, 36 now, and I don't think he wants to fight much longer. So we probably see him once a year for the next 2 years or 3 years. I don't think either of those guys. I think they're on their way out, in my opinion. But yeah, I just want to get your quick thoughts. Here's another one. Quick thought. Anthony Yarde, Joshua Boazzi supposed to be announced soon. I saw this one last minute before we jumped on here. I like this fight. I think it's a good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing it if it does get announced. I like both of these guys. I thought Anthony Yarde fought very well against Beterbiev. He even though he got stopped, as most people do when they fight Beterbiev, but I thought he put forth a good showing even in loss. And this is a good fight, man. I would love to see it. But again, just want to quickly get your thoughts on it. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but just wanted to see what the temperature is like. Is this an exciting fight for you guys? Do you care about this fight? Do you want to see it, or is it just whatever? But I think it's a good fight. And I think Joshua Boazzi kind of held back against Dan Aziz a little bit, in my opinion. I don't think he really went full force to it. And so I would love to see this fight. I know they respect each other, but somebody getting knocked out in this fight, man. Somebody getting knocked out in this fight. But, just want to get your perspective on it. What do we think about it? Do we like it? Do we not like it? Obviously, it isn't fully announced yet, but, just wanted to talk about it just because I saw it real briefly. Crawford by chasing, unifying, and undisputed at 154. That's probably looking like what it's going to be. Would not mind that, man. Yarde might beat Boazzi, to be honest. I'd actually put money on him. Yeah, I would too. I like Yarde in that fight. I'm not going to lie. I like Yarde in that fight. I like the fight. I like the fight. I don't think that fight goes the distance. I like the fight, man. Boazzi will have to run more than allowed. Man, like Yarde is a man with punches with bad intentions, man. Like that man can punch. That man can punch. Boazzi, I don't think is getting any better. I don't know, man. I think he has to strike while it's hot right now. I think he has to get things moving right now, take these big fights right now. I could see a situation where maybe, I'm assuming, I don't know fully. Maybe Chris can tell me a little bit more since he's over in the UK. I think this fight would sell out personally, in my opinion, because they're two exciting fighters, two exciting styles. They're likable guys, So I would love to see it, and then I would love to see the winner come down this part of the world again and get another big fight, man. Even if it's not, maybe it's against. Well, I guess the winner of that fight will have to face either Bivol or Beterbiev because they're going to unify the belt. So, maybe Yard gets his rematch, or maybe Boazzi gets an opportunity at the world title shot down there. So, going to be very, very interesting. But I like the fight. I like the fight. I like this matchup. Can't see what the odds are. My money would go on Yard. That's a great question, man. I don't know, man. I feel like they probably put Boazzi probably be the favorite, but I think it's a 50-50 fight. Boazzi Yard been spoke about over here for years. It's not a stadium fight, but sells out arena in London. A true 50-50 fight for me. And all us UK fans want to see it, man. I'd love to see it. I hope it's not one of those, as my man Lights Out says, rumors, since we're talking about rumors. I hope it's not a rumor. I want to see the fight. I want to see the fight. So hopefully it does get done. And hopefully that wasn't just something that was just, moving around. My guess, Boazzi, 4-6 yards, 65. Yeah, that probably makes sense, man. All right. Let's keep forward. Two more things. Cool down segment. Questions, Q&As. Let's get into it right here. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting, man. There's gonna be some really good fights moving forward, and I'm looking forward to seeing I'm still a little bit torn between, not fully torn, but I'm trying to Rolly and Isaac Cruz, right? And that breakdown will come out early next week. I'm looking forward to that fight the most because I think it's the most intriguing fight, man. Most intriguing fight. I don't think we should fully count out Rolly. I think Rolly has a chance in this fight. He is the champion, but I don't think Isaac Cruz is this great fighter either, by no means. But his style is problematic. The aggression is problematic, and that could make things a little bit interesting. But March has had some really good cards, some really good fights, man. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Should be good, man. Should be good, man. Announcement expected next week. Okay, so you probably saw the same thing that I was seeing. I hope it gets done. Rolly's best chance is winning on points. Yeah, but Rolly gonna stay in that fire. And make these sounds and swing these hands, and it's gonna be interesting to see what the heck his game plan is. I thought when he fought Tank Davis, that was probably the most patient and composed Rolly that I've seen. But he overcommitted and got himself caught with that left hand, and it was over with. So I don't really know how strong my man's chin is. I'm saying I don't really know what that chin is like. He got touched once, and it was kind of lights out for him. But it's going to be interesting to see what that game plan is because, even Barroso caught him with that left hand and almost stunned him, right? So going to be very, 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 very interesting, man. And I do like Cruz. He's got a great story, comes from humble beginnings, really worked his way to the top of where he is. He's not many guys, their name grows when they lose a fight, as his has from his performance with Gervonta Tank Davis. So shout out to Isaac Cruz, man. I just don't know how Rolly going to keep the pitbull leash off of him. Yeah, man, pitbull's style is so problematic, man. If you're not a boxer, I don't see how you can evade him for 12 rounds. The man's got really good conditioning, really good cardio, and he's probably so annoying to fight. You know what I'm saying? He's just there in your face every time. You try to create separation, he's just there. He's just there. Oh man, he's just like Zepeda. Zepeda is probably annoying to fight as well too, because he's just always there. You're like, bro, like back up a little bit. You know what I'm saying, back up a little bit, man. Get off of me. So again, it's gonna be interesting to see, man. Again, I'm not counting Rolly out, man. I give Rolly a shot. I think he could get it done. You know, it's just, what is the game plan? Is he going to stick to the game plan? Is he going to be patient? Is he going to fight emotional? Sometimes Rolly fights emotional. Sometimes he wants to make a statement so bad. He's just out here swing happy, you know. So I just want to see the game plan, what it's going to be. Pitbull going to chew him up. Them annoying Chihuahua noise when he throws punches. I hear you, man. I hear you. I hear you. I have Rolly boxing Isaac. He couldn't stop Giovanni Cabrera. Rolly survived Barroso, if we can put it that way. Yeah, I mean, Cabrera's a pretty good, like, he's a decent boxer, man. Like, he moves pretty well, but Rolly doesn't do that. And so, you know, that's what makes it interesting, is to see what Rolly has improved on. What is the game plan coming into this one? Because I felt like Cruz was very frustrated against Cabrera. Like, he was expecting him to stand there and fight, you know, but he was moving and making it very tough, and had to force Cruz to cut off of the ring, right? So gonna be interesting, man. I don't think he's gonna have those same problems with Rolly, but you know, we'll see. And you know, we saw what Barroso did in his last fight. That left hand's still there. That left hand's still there. To beat Cruz, you need to knock him out. Tank was very fortunate to win on points against him. You could say, man, Cruz, you know, he that man got a chin, man. That man can take a shot, you know, and he has done everything that he's supposed to do post Gervonta Davis fight, right? You survive fighting Tank, and you put forth a good performance, and now you have to use that. So you got to call Tank out, keep saying his name, and you got to win your fights. And he has been doing that. You beat Eureka's Gamboa, you stopped him, all these different cats. So, you know, he's built a pretty good little resume for himself, man. But I think Rolly gives him a bigger challenge, man. I'm not going to lie. I think Rolly gives him a better challenge, but also has a mallet in that left hand. Man, does he ever. And I hope that he continues to get a big fight. I would love to see him again sometime this year, especially after his recent performance, man. It was a solid win. Shout out to Barroso, man. Incredible story, a sad story. So I'm glad that he's able to get back into good spirits and get back into these big fights, man. So shout out to him. Man, so any last questions before we close out? Man, we might even be able to keep this thing under an hour today. We'll see. We'll see. Any last questions before we close out with the quote of the week? Oh man, I got some questions from a couple weeks ago that I forgot to answer, that I wrote down, that are in my DM. I forgot to answer those. My fault. I have not forget. I see the questions. I just forgot about them. What does everyone think going to happen with Ryan Garcia? I would pull him out and get him to fight regularly 2 to 3 times this year. You know, every time I see Ryan Garcia, man, it makes me go back to when he said, like, he wants to retire when he's 27 or something like that. The thing with him, man, is the man is very talented. I mean, he's a very talented dude. You don't get that type of hands. You can't teach that hand speed. You can't teach the quickness. You can manipulate power, but you have it, right? You have it. And he's got so much talent. And I don't know, man, you know, I go back and forth with him, and I try to keep some of the stuff that he's saying away from him, the fighter, Now, I'm not saying what he's saying isn't, some of the stuff isn't true. I'm sure a bunch of that stuff is true, but it's like, man, there's a time and place for everything. And I don't know what it is for him here. I know what I'm going to get from Devin Haney. We know what we're going to get from Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting, man. Either Ryan Garcia is a marketing genius, because from what I've heard, his platform has like skyrocketed by a couple 100,000 followers, and whatever the case is, or he's a great actor, or he's a great actor. Fundora versus Tim. First of all, appreciate you tuning in, man. We did touch on that. Good fight. As I said, I'm glad that Fundora stepped in to take the fight. Many of us in the chat agreed on the same thing. Fundora does not deserve a title shot, especially coming after a loss. That's not what we want to see, but it is what we're getting. And so we know what we're going to get from Fundora. He's going to come forward, do his thing. But Tim Zeuge, man, I think Tim Zeuge stops in my early thoughts. But again, I'm glad the fight's going on. A couple more questions from the DM. This one says, Akeem, not a boxing question, but a track question. Have you ever raced someone who you felt was on drugs? That's a great question, man. Yes, I have felt that. And you can look at it as two ways. Like, you can say, man, I know this guy is on something, and I can focus on the fact that he's on something, or you can try and beat the guy nonetheless and do your thing. So I have raced guys where I hear rumors, and when you hear more than 5 people who are close to a certain person talking about the same thing, some of it's got to be true. But again, man, you can't do anything about it unless the person gets caught. So yeah, I've competed against people in track and field who I felt like were definitely on something. Have you given your thoughts? My brother Francisco, man, you and I have talked a couple times about the old school fighters. So Mike Tyson is one of my favorite fighters of all time. Look, I think from a magnitude standpoint, like, Mike Tyson is always going to be a big draw, a big name. But I saw videos of this man walking with a stick after sparring. I saw him walking with a limp after sparring. And he's 57, 58 years old when they go, man. I don't know, man. I'm going to tune in because I like Mike and I like boxing. I'm going to watch. But when would we ever say Jake Paul versus Iron Mike Tyson? Never would I thought I would see that even in the mix, man. I don't want to see it, but I'm going to watch it. I don't even know how much rounds this is. And even in Mike Tyson's greatest, in his prime, he's good for a solid 6-7 rounds. He's 57 now, man. So it's like, how much rounds does he actually have now? 2, 3? So, Mike, man, use your name to get your check, my brother, man. I hope he comes out like old school Mike. I forgot who he was fighting, but you remember that entrance when Mike came out? The music was just like chains. It was like a chain sound. Just turn, turn, turn. And he came out in a full sweat, came out, in a little wife beater type of shirt, and he came out and was just walking. I was like, yo, that is an intimidating cat. So I don't know, man. I don't know, my brother Francisco, man. It's a interesting fight. Definitely a big money fight. And Jake Paul is probably thinking, you know what? Since the situation happened with Amanda Serrano in the last fight, I got to find a way to bring eyes back and make some money back. And Mike Tyson's going to help just to do that. Garcia is going to jump Haney. It's all a theater, in my opinion. Man, it might just be. It might just be. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson is a joke. So sad, not surprising from that Disney cat weasel. But Mike Tyson wasn't long ago in a wheelchair. It's a farce. And remember the videos that we saw of Mike Tyson when he was supposed to fight, when he fought Roy Jones Jr. and then what he looked like when we got into the ring. It's like, bro, you can't do this at this age anymore, man. So, man, yep, I completely agree. I saw this briefly. It's a good fight. Adorno's a solid opponent. Give me the date on this, my brother Francisco, man. I just saw the names. I didn't see a date, but I'm going to tune in. You know, Walter's coming from where I came from, man. So I got to support. Jake Paul has a high profile of getting 25 million views, of putting toy cars in a bucket of water. Jake Paul is a Disney cat weasel. The man knows how to market, though. I got to give him that. I hope Tyson smashes him up, but it ain't gonna happen. I give Iron Mike. I can't even say he's Iron Mike right now because he don't look like Iron Mike. He might be Copper Mike. You know what I'm saying? Copper Mike. Look, I give Mike 3 rounds. I give him 3 rounds before he pulls something. I give him 3 rounds before he pulls a back muscle. You know, he pulls a bicep. He pulls something. You know, so. But I hope, imagine if Mike Tyson just catches Jake Paul with the body shot or, you know, the patented right hook or the uppercut, man. If he did that, oh, that would be crazy. I'd love to see it, though. Mike Tyson by way of homicide. I sure hope you're right. It's going to cause uproar either way. If Paul wins, they will say he can't beat up a 57-year-old Tyson. Tyson wins, he might beat up a young kid. It's a lose-lose. Media gonna love it, creating headlines afterwards. Yeah, this is the industry, right? You know, this is as they always say, any news is good news, and all news is good news, and it sells. And when you have Mike Tyson in the mix, oh, it's gonna sell. People gonna tune in. But honestly, I don't want to see it, man. I honestly think Mike is gonna get hurt at some point training for this fight. The man said he broke his back. Remember, spinal. Spinal. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's gonna get hurt leading up to the fight, and something's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. 27. Man, Pro Box been putting on some really good cards, man. Shout out to Pro Box. This is a good fight. I'm definitely gonna tune into this fight, man. Appreciate you sharing that, my brother Francisco. A couple more. Paul Tyson, Conor Ben Pacquiao. Oh, I forgot about that one. I forgot about Pac-Man wanting to come back and fight. Oh, Pac-Man gets stopped. Dennis Ugas put a beating on Pac-Man. Pac-Man is going to get stopped. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Pac-Man do any more professional bouts. Give me the exhibition. We'll tune in. The man still can move, still got good speed. He can still do his thing from an exhibition standpoint. But as far as a professional fight, man, I'm not trying to see Pac-Man do that. I'm not trying to see Pac-Man go to the Olympics. I'm not trying to see none of that. Just leave it. Just leave it, Pac-Man. You don't got to do this. You can make good money doing exhibitions, man. I don't want to see you come back and lose to Conor Ben. I'm not trying to see it. This is Paul's toughest test. You know what's funny? I agree. I think it is his toughest test. I think it is his toughest test. Not his hardest fight, but I think it's going to be his toughest test. Oh, man, I forgot Conor Ben and Pac-Man was happening, man, or was looking like it's going to happen. I don't want to see it. Man, Pac-Man's wife was feeding him soup in the bed with his eyes shut and his face. He just looked so sad. I don't know if you guys saw that video. Oh, man, it just looked bad. Oh, don't want to see it. keep it away. Keep 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 it away. Keep it away. Keep it away, man. Let me get into two more questions from the DMs here. This one says, Akeem, what do you think is the hardest part about being a professional athlete? That's a great question, man. I think it's a couple things. The first one being the sacrifices. You, eh, anyone considering to do that, man, I tell transitioning athletes this from collegiate level to the professional setting, whether they have a big contract or not, especially in track and field. I always say the same thing. I'm like, look, you got to understand, everyone isn't after what you're after. So you have to decide what exactly it is that you want. And it's not about what, to me, you got to ask yourself this question, right? What are you willing to give up in order to make it happen? So think about the sacrifices you have to make. Are you willing to not going and partying like some of your other peoples are? Are you willing to be very strict in your nutrition? Are you willing to make sure you're getting a certain amount of rest? Are you willing to lock in for a certain period of time? Are you willing to do all of those things? Not a lot of people are willing to do that, because when you kind of want success, like, you kind of get results. So I was always asking myself of that question. So that's one of the things. And the other one is, man, consistency, right? Because all of the process is not fun. All of the training days is not fun. Being sore often is not fun, right? Pushing the threshold all the time is not always fun. Like, it's not always fun, but you can't let your emotions be the thing that not allows you to be great, because sports doesn't care about how you feel. It cares about how you execute and what you're going to do on the night. You know what I'm saying? So those two things real quick. Thoughts on Eubank being a free agent. Man, I think Eubank has a lot of talent, man. And I've always said that. Like, I think he has a lot of potential. Like, he's very skilled, very talented. You can see he gets some of that stuff from his genetics, but I think his clock is running out, man. I don't think he has too many more good years left in him. I don't know. I think his name in the UK will sell. Chris, you can let me know a little bit more about that. But yeah, I don't know. I got to think more about this one, man. I don't know what Eubank is doing. Only cares about his poker and hotel mansion nonsense. I'm frustrated with him. Middleweight titles there to be won. Lara not active since 2022. That's crazy. Really? It's been that long for Eris Randy? Charlo not been active. Man, I think it's time for him. 160 is, out of all the divisions, that might be one of the most open divisions to me. Janibek's the champion. He's good. Still open. 160 is open, man. It's there. Will he take it? Will he seize it right now? That's the question. It's there. If he wants to be a champion, 160 is open. It's open. Janibek is even beatable. Janibek needs to convince me more. He's beaten nobodies with respect, in my opinion. Bentley beat Janibek. I agree. 160 is open, though, bro. Like, I'm 1,000% with you on that. It's open. He's taking off the tension of the fights with Smith. He is in no hurry. Yeah. And I mean, he got a big payday. He just redeemed himself. He's feeling good, feeling nice. So what is the rush? So it's always that interesting component, right? I think at the beginning, in my opinion, right? I think at the beginning, when someone is climbing the ladder, climbing up the ranks, I think for a good couple years, it is about the money, especially if you don't come from money, right? For you to get the money so you can pay for good training camps, so you can pay, help support yourself and the family. If you're working a job, you can quit the job and just solely focus on training. I think for a couple years, it is about the money. But when you have enough money, it should not be about the money so much as it's about the legacy and the aspect of it, because you want to do the sport to be the great, regardless if you don't love it or not, right? Because the competitive nature of a person. And so for me, I'm just like, yo, Eubank, you got the money. So what's next? Your age, we don't age backwards, we age forwards. So every day we're getting a little bit older. So it's like, yo, are we thinking legacy yet? At what point? Right now, 160 is open. It's time to take it. He's got the skill and the talent to do it. But will he? And he's got the trainers to help him do it. He looks really good as of recently. But again, not everybody wants that. Eubank Jr. wants to fight with the most money, which means only one fight we know what it is. And him being a free agent makes that happen. The side I love to Eubank Jr. is he knows how to sell his fight, where he promotes the fight, and opponents rallied by his ego and charisma. Yeah, he definitely he definitely got that from his dad, man. His dad could sell a fight too. Again, he's got the goods, man. He's got everything that you want and you would want a fighter to have. The marketing is easy for him, right? He's got the intangibles. He can talk, he can speak. He's got a great personality, but we're still not seeing him. He's going to take his time. We might see him once this year, probably summertime. But yeah, man. So that's enough about Chris Eubank, man. Let's close out the show. We got to close out the show with the quote of the week. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to tune in again. Quote of the week. And I think it's important. Quote of the week: never underestimate the difference you can make in the lives of others. Where this quote makes me think, it makes me go to a story I once heard when I was in college. Story goes like this. There were two successful entrepreneurs, right? Two successful entrepreneurs that had both fallen sick. One was in their 70s and the other one was in his 40s, right? Both had a lot of money. Both did really well in their respective space and what they were doing. So the younger guy just got admitted, right? He had to get some surgery, fighting cancer, caught it early, was going to beat it. He had the best doctors, right? But the initial news, he got the news, it was going to set him back. So the story goes, he goes into the room, they wheel him into the room, and he sees this older gentleman, right? Sees this older gentleman. The older gentleman feels somebody inside and says, hey, what's going on? The younger gentleman comes in and he's rolled in. He's in bad attitude, right? He's like, man, nothing is going on, man. This is terrible. This sucks. This is going to slow up my business. This is not what I thought that my life was going to be. Like, I'm at the height of my business right now. Things are going too well. Like, this can't happen to me. And every single day, his mood is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And his friend next to him, the guy next to him, it was just like, hey, man, what's with this attitude? Like, why are you always in this negative space? Like, what's going on here? Like, why can't you find anything good? Other gentleman goes, man, nothing is good right now. I hate it. Like, I hate it here. I can't wait to leave. And this happens for about a month straight until one day, the younger gentleman, out of frustration and curiosity, calls out to the guy across and says, hey, man, what do you see outside? I notice every time I come in, you're always looking outside. You're always looking outside. Like, what do you see? You're closest to the window. What do you see outside? And the gentleman closer to the window, the older gentleman says, man, like, I see a beautiful sky. I see birds. I hear birds chirping. I see kids eating ice cream. It's really a beautiful thing. It's really a beautiful thing. Dogs barking, people playing catch with the dogs. People are throwing frisbee. It's a beautiful scene. And for the next week, every single day for the next week, the younger gentleman came in and he would ask, what do you see outside? Like, what is it like out today? And every single time, the gentleman who was older, who was closer to the window, he would paint a different picture of what he was seeing every single time. Every day, he would say it. And the younger gentleman coming in, his mood started to change. He was now a lot more positive, and he looked forward to hearing what was going on outside, and it uplifted his spirit. So one day after chemotherapy, the younger man comes in, and he already is ready to ask his questions. Man, I wonder what was going on outside today. I can't wait to hear about it. It uplifted his spirit. So he comes into the room, and there's a nurse over there, and the nurse is making the bed. And the man goes, "Hey, where's my friend? Like, where is he? Like, what happened to him? Like, where is he? He's not here today." And he said, "Man, like he passed away." And the man said, "Oh man, are you serious? Like, I didn't even get to say bye. Like, it's crazy." And so he says, "Nurse, can you do me a favor? My friend used to always tell me about what I was seeing outside. He used to paint this beautiful picture. He used to tell me all these different things, and it made me feel good. I want to see what he saw. Can you wheel my bed over to the window so I can see what my friend saw? It uplifted me. I want to see what his saw." So the nurse said, "No problem." She goes on by, rolls him over to the window, and he realizes, he looks out and he says, "Yo, who put this wall here? Like, why is this wall here? Like, my friend used to tell me about this beautiful scenery, this beautiful imagery, and it's a big wall. Can you take down the wall?" Right? The man wanted him to knock down the wall. And the nurse said, "Oh, you didn't know?" The man said, what are you talking about? No, what? Like, what are you talking about?" And the nurse says, "Wait a minute, you really didn't know?" And the man said, "Look, I don't want to go back and forth. I don't know what you're talking about. Just please." And the nurse says, "Yeah, he was blind. He'd been blind for the past 15 years. Like, every time that you asked him what was outside, he was painting a picture based on what he remembered from when he could see. And he said all of those things because he knew it made you feel better. It knew it uplifted your spirits. He knew it put you in a better state and mentality. So he painted that picture, even if he couldn't see it, but he knew it could help you." Now, that gentleman later came out of the hospital, and he actually paid to knock down that wall, and he created a bench, and that bench was made in the honor of his friend that helped him get through those tough times. So the moral of that story, man, is never underestimate the difference that you can make in someone's life, whether it's something big or it's something small. We live in a world nowadays where people will look at you and not say hello. They will ask you how you're doing and not mean it. And even if they don't say hello to you, you can say hello back to them, because you never know what someone is fighting. Every single one of you on this live right now, you're going through your own stuff. You're battling something yourself. But you also have that same strength and same courage to be a light for someone, because you can have compassion because they're going through something and you can relate. So never underestimate the difference of what you can make and the impact that you can make and the difference that you can make just by saying hello, just by sending a message saying I'm thinking about you, just by sending a kind gesture and kind compliment. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to tune in. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to rock with me week to week. I really appreciate each of you, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the conversation, and I appreciate each of you. As the week continues and it continues to go, love and guidance to every single one of you. Keep the faith, keep the strength, stay encouraged. And we will be back here next week at 7:30 to talk boxing and to definitely talk life. God bless each of you, and I'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your day, night, and week.